Unlock your phone and look at your storage settings. Do not look at the curated glimpses of your social life or the endless screenshots of memes you will never share. Look at the data. You have 3,000 images of a creature that belongs to a different species and only 12 photos of your own parents. You have spent more gigabytes on a golden retriever or a tabby cat than you have on your own mental health or your career goals. This is not a hobby. This is a symptom of a systemic psychological collapse. Global birth rates are plummeting to a level that threatens the very survival of our civilization, while the pet industry is exploding into a multi-billion-dollar empire. We are pushing dogs in strollers, while human children are becoming a luxury for the elite. We are throwing birthday parties for creatures that cannot count, and buying health insurance for beings that will never say thank you. You tell yourself it is because they are cute. You tell yourself it is because they are loyal. You are lying to yourself. The truth is much darker. The truth is that human beings have failed you so deeply and so consistently that you have retreated into a biological illusion. You do not love your pet because it is special. You love your pet because it is the only thing left in your world that cannot reject you for being exactly who you are. We are living through a period of profound social fragility, where the human heart has become too brittle to handle the complexity of other humans. So we have hired biological mercenaries to fill the void. We have weaponized the loyalty of a species that we bred for survival and turned them into emotional bandages for our broken spirits. This is not a heartwarming story about the bond between man and beast. This is a clinical dissection of a psychological surrender. This is why you chose a dog over a person. This is the neuroscience of betrayal. You are using an animal to hide from your own species. You are paying for the privilege of never having to be challenged again. Observe the way you talk to your pet when no one is watching. You use a high-pitched voice that you would never dare use with an adult. You share your deepest secrets and your most pathetic insecurities with a being that lacks the linguistic capacity to judge you. This is the ultimate psychological loophole. In a real human relationship, there is always the risk of a mirror. When you speak to a human, they reflect your flaws back at you. They challenge your logic. They hold you accountable for your past. They have the power to leave when you become difficult to love. But a dog is a locked room. A cat is a silent observer. They provide the illusion of intimacy without any of the administrative costs of a real relationship. We call this unconditional love, but in the laboratory of the mind, we call it an asymmetric contract. You provide the food and the shelter, and in exchange, you receive a total suspension of judgment. The creature does not care if you lost your job. It does not care if you were mean to your coworkers. It does not care if you are a liar or a coward. As long as you are the hand that feeds it, you are a god. This satisfies the most primitive hunger of the human ego. We are a species that craves dominance and validation in equal measure. In the 21st century, the world is designed to humble us. Every time you open your laptop, you are reminded that someone is richer than you and someone is more successful than you. But when you walk through your front door, you are the most important being in the universe. We are using animals to bypass the difficult work of social evolution. We are choosing the easy worship of a beast over the hard labor of loving a person. Because a person requires you to change. A person requires you to apologize. A dog only requires you to exist. This is the surface symptom of a society that has lost the ability to negotiate the terms of human connection. We are retreating into a controlled environment where the only other living soul is one that we literally own as property. It is the ultimate firewall against the pain of being human. You have replaced the struggle of growth with the comfort of ownership. You have traded a partner for a subject, and you call it love because the truth is too heavy to carry. The trap was set 40,000 years ago. It began as a survival strategy and ended as a neural hijack. When you look into the eyes of a dog, your brain is flooded with oxytocin. This is the exact same chemical that bonds a mother to her newborn infant. In 2015, a study published in the journal Science proved that this is not a coincidence. It is a co-evolutionary loop. When a human and a dog stare into each other's eyes, their oxytocin levels rise in a synchronized wave. But there is a catch. Dogs are the only non-human species that have learned to hack the human gaze. A wolf will never look you in the eye to seek comfort. A wolf sees eye contact as a challenge or a threat. But dogs have evolved specific muscles around their eyes just to mimic the facial expressions of human babies. They have learned how to trigger our most ancient nurturing instincts. They are biological parasites of the heart. They have mapped the vulnerabilities of the human subconscious and built a permanent home there. Your brain cannot distinguish between the love for a child and the love for a pet because the chemical signature is identical. This is why you call them your fur babies. This is why you feel a physical ache when they are sick. You are experiencing a misdirected evolutionary response. We are designed to protect our offspring so that our genes can survive. But we are now pouring that protective energy into a genetic dead end. We are feeding the oxytocin loop with a creature that cannot carry our legacy forward. Why would we do this? Because human oxytocin is expensive. To get a hit of that chemical from a human, you have to be vulnerable. You have to be consistent. You have to be kind, even when you are tired. You have to risk the possibility that the other person will stop loving you. The dog is a cheaper source. It is a high-volume, low-risk transaction. You are essentially using a biological hack to feel the warmth of connection without the danger of intimacy. Your mirror neurons are firing in response to their joy, but it is a one-way mirror. You are projecting your own complex emotions onto a creature that is primarily motivated by caloric intake and physical safety. You are not seeing the dog. You are seeing a reflection of the love you wish someone would give to you without asking for anything in return. The dog is not loving you. The dog is performing the behaviors that ensure its survival. You are the one doing all the emotional work. You are the one hallucinating a soul into a biological machine. We live in the era of the ghost. We live in a world where you can spend 5 years building a life with someone only for them to vanish behind a blue screen and a blocked number. Human loyalty has become a liquid commodity. It evaporates the moment a better option appears on a dating app. We are all living in a state of hypervigilance. We are constantly scanning for signs of betrayal in our friends and our partners. This level of stress is unsustainable for the mammalian brain. The human nervous system was not built for the endless competition of the modern social market. This is where the pet becomes a strategic asset. A dog is a biological constant in a world of variables. They represent the only relationship in your life that is guaranteed to last until death. We have traded depth for duration. We have decided that the simple and shallow loyalty of an animal is more valuable than the complex and volatile loyalty of a person. This is a profound indictment of our modern culture. We have made the world so cold and so transactional that we have to buy creatures to keep us warm. Think about the way we anthropomorphize them. We dress them in clothes, we give them human names. We talk to them about our divorces and our career failures. We are desperately trying to turn them into the humans we wish we had. We are trying to cure our loneliness with a species that does not understand what loneliness is. A dog is not lonely when you are gone. It is simply waiting for the next stimulus. It does not have a concept of the future or the past. It exists in a permanent present. We envy this. We are so tortured by our own memories of betrayal and our fears of the future that we cling to the animal as an anchor to the now. But it is an anchor made of sand. By choosing the pet over the human, we are retreating from the very arena where we could actually grow. You cannot grow by being worshipped by a creature that has no choice but to love you. Growth only happens when you are challenged by an equal. By surrounding ourselves with pets, we are creating a psychological echo chamber. We are ensuring that we are never wrong and never judged. We are slowly becoming infants again, surrounded by furry nannies that will never tell us the truth. The social market has become so toxic that we have opted out of the human race entirely. We have replaced the city square with a dog park. We have replaced the dinner table with a feeding bowl. We are shrinking our worlds to the size of a backyard because we are too afraid to face the people outside the gate. The industry knows exactly what you are doing. They are the silent architects of your isolation. They market the pet as a family member because a family member is a recurring revenue stream that lasts for 15 years. They have convinced you that your cat is depressed so that you will buy a $30 automated laser toy. They have convinced you that your dog has separation anxiety so that you will buy pheromone diffusers and weighted vests. We are treating the symptoms of our own social decay by medicating our animals. The more lonely the population becomes, the more the pet industry thrives. It is a direct correlation. In the United States alone, people spend over $140 billion a year on pets. That is more than the gross domestic product of over 100 countries. Imagine what that capital could do if it were directed toward human community building or supporting struggling parents. Imagine if we invested that much energy into making humans easier to talk to, but we would rather spend it on a dog, because a dog is a better investment of emotional capital in a high-risk world. If you invest in a person, they might let you down, they might cheat, they might change their mind about you. If you invest in a dog, you get a guaranteed return of wagging tails and dopamine hits. We are witnessing the ultimate commodification of affection. We have turned love into a product that can be purchased at a pet store. And in doing so, we have devalued the weight of human connection. We have made it okay to give up on people. We tell ourselves that people are drama and people are toxic. We use these buzzwords to justify our withdrawal from society. We say I prefer animals to people as if it were a personality trait or a badge of honor. It is not. It is a confession of deep psychological trauma. It is an admission that you have been hurt so many times that you are no longer willing to step into the ring. You have retired to the sidelines with a creature that is incapable of hurting you. But you are also with a creature that is incapable of truly knowing you. You are choosing a beautiful lie over a difficult truth. You are choosing the shadow of love over the substance of it. You are paying a corporation to help you forget that you are lonely. The Stoics had a much sharper perspective on this. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that everything we love is a temporary gift from nature. He cautioned us not to grow too attached to things that are not within our control or things that lack the faculty of reason. In the Roman world, a dog was a tool. It was a guard. It was a hunter. It was respected for its function, but it was never confused with a human being. The ancient mind understood the hierarchy of souls. They knew that the human soul is defined by reason and social responsibility. When you elevate an animal to the status of a human, you are not raising the animal, you are lowering the human. You are abdicating your duty to your own species. The clinical advice for the modern soul is harsh but necessary. Stop using your pet to stitch together the wounds that other humans left behind. A dog cannot heal your childhood trauma. A cat cannot fix your fear of intimacy. They are only distractions. They are emotional painkillers that mask the underlying infection of your loneliness. If you want to truly heal, you have to face the silence. You have to face the judgment of other people. You have to risk being rejected again and again until you find someone who is worth the risk. You have to walk into the world and try to build something with another flawed and dangerous human being. That is where the meaning is. That is where the evolution happens. Do not treat your pet like a child. A child is a bridge to the future. A child will grow up to challenge you and eventually replace you. A pet is a circle that ends with itself. Recognize the biological hack for what it is. Enjoy the oxytocin. Enjoy the company, but do not let it become your primary source of meaning. Do not let the creature become the reason you stop trying to understand your own kind. The isolation of the 21st century is a trap, and the wagging tail at the door is the bait that makes the trap feel like a home. You are not a pet owner. You are a refugee from human connection, and until you realize that you will never truly be free. If tomorrow every human being on this planet vanished, and only you and your pet remained, how long would you stay sane? Think about that carefully. You would have all the unconditional love you could ever want. You would have the loyalty. You would have the gaze. You would have the playfulness. But you would have no one to witness your thoughts. You would have no one to challenge your ideas. You would have no one to tell you who you are through the eyes of an equal. In that silence, you would realize the terrifying truth. The animal does not know you. It knows the bringer of food. It knows the source of warmth. It does not know your soul because it does not have the equipment to perceive it. We are social animals, not just biological ones. We need the friction of other minds to exist. We do not choose pets because they are better than humans. We choose them because they are safer. We choose them because they cannot break our hearts in the specific way that only a human can. They cannot look us in the eye and tell us that we have failed. They cannot look at us and tell us that we need to be better. And that is the most heartbreaking truth of the 21st century. We have become so afraid of the pain of being human that we have decided to live as the masters of a world of beasts. We have chosen the comfort of the kennel over the challenge of the city. We have chosen the pet because we have given up on the person. We are building a civilization of solitary gods, presiding over a kingdom of four-legged subjects. The lab doors are closing. The data is in front of you. Look at your phone again. Look at those 3,000 photos of a creature that will be gone in a decade. Ask yourself if you are looking at a bond or if you are looking at a cage. Ask yourself if you are caring for that animal because it needs you or because you are too terrified to need anyone else. The next time you feel that surge of love for a creature that cannot speak, remember why you need it so much. It is not because they are perfect. It is because you are afraid of the people who are not. You are dismissed. Consider the economic cost of this emotional substitution. We are diverting trillions of dollars into the pet economy while the infrastructure of human care is crumbling. We spend more on designer dog collars than we do on local community centers. We spend more on premium cat litter than we do on literacy programs for underprivileged children. This is a massive misallocation of human resources, driven by a desperate need for a sense of belonging that we can no longer find in each other. We are literally buying our way out of the social contract. Every dollar spent on an animal is a dollar not spent on a human being. We have created a society where it is easier to adopt a dog than it is to reconcile with a sibling. It is easier to grieve for a pet than it is to apologize to a spouse. This is the ultimate convenience. We have optimized our lives for emotional efficiency, and in the process, we have stripped away the very things that make life meaningful. Meaning is found in the mess. It is found in the arguments and the compromises and the shared burdens of human existence. When you remove those things and replace them with the simple obedience of an animal, you are living a hollow life. You are living in a simulation of love. You are a pilot flying a plane that never leaves the ground. It feels like flying. The gauges tell you that you are high in the air, but you are still in the hangar. You are still safe. You are still alone. We must stop pretending that this is a healthy evolution of the family unit. It is a surrender. It is a white flag waved in the face of the difficulty of being a person. You must choose. You can stay in the hangar with your loyal companion, or you can open the doors and face the storm of human connection. One is safe and leads to nowhere. The other is dangerous and leads to everything. The choice is yours. But do not pretend that the animal is enough. It will never be enough because you were built for more than this. You were built to be known, and a dog can only see the hand that holds the leash. It can never see the person who is holding it. The final stage of this dissection is the realization of the void. When that pet eventually dies, as it inevitably must, you will feel a grief that seems disproportionate to the loss. You will cry harder for that animal than you did for your own grandparents. This is not because the animal was more important. It is because that animal was the only thing standing between you and the realization of your own total isolation. When the pet dies, the firewall falls. Suddenly you are alone in a room with no one to worship you and no one to project your feelings onto. The silence becomes deafening. This is why people rush out to buy another pet within weeks of losing the first one. They are not replacing a friend, they are reloading a prescription. They are getting a new dose of the drug that keeps the truth at bay. They are terrified of what they will see in the mirror if there isn't a dog sitting at their feet. They are terrified of the person they have become in their self-imposed exile. We are a generation of emotional addicts using animals to numb the pain of a broken social world. We are using them to avoid the work of building a society worth living in. If we put half as much effort into our neighbors as we put into our pets, we wouldn't need the pets to feel human. We are creating a self-fulfilling prophecy of loneliness. We withdraw to our pets because people are difficult, and then people become more difficult because everyone has withdrawn to their pets. The feedback loop is complete. The social fabric is torn beyond repair. And we are all sitting in the ruins, petting our dogs and telling ourselves that we are happy. But the data doesn't lie. The suicide rates don't lie. The antidepressant prescriptions don't lie. We are the most connected species in history and the most lonely. And we are trying to fix it with a creature that can't even recognize its own reflection in a mirror. It is a tragedy played out in living rooms across the globe. It is a slow-motion collapse of the human spirit, and you are right in the middle of it. So what is the cure? The cure is not to get rid of your pet. The cure is to stop using them as a shield. Use them as a companion, but not as a substitute. Recognize the limitations of the bond. Admit to yourself that the love you feel is largely a projection of your own needs. And then do the hardest thing a modern human can do. Reach out to another person. Make an unfiltered phone call. Go to a place where people gather and don't take your dog with you as an icebreaker. Stand there in your own awkward skin and try to connect without a biological buffer. It will be painful. It will be frustrating. You will probably be rejected. But you will be alive. You will be participating in the actual story of your species instead of watching a rerun of a nature documentary. The human heart was meant to be broken and mended by other hearts. It was not meant to be kept in a velvet box guarded by a beast. Take the risk, face the betrayal, endure the complexity, because at the end of your life, you will not be remembered for how well you treated your dog. You will be remembered for how well you loved your fellow man. And that is a standard that no animal can ever help you meet. The clinical trial is over. The results are conclusive. You are more than a pet owner. You are a human being. Start acting like one. The silence is waiting for your answer. Do not let the barking drown it out.